translation that was made, Takemusu Aiki, and it's very clear from that Aikido's purpose, well, one way that O-Sensei described it is it's a religion which is not a religion. That its purpose is the kind of spiritual opening and spiritual knowledge which usually human beings seek through some kind of religious form, although sometimes it happens completely out of that. And when O-Sensei is talking to the disciples of Goi-Sensei, he says things like, "You are the only ones who understand me." Meaning all these people who are practicing Aikido like a martial art don't know anything. And it's true, you see what he says to them. So, I'll start. The translation made by Japanese, so it's completely within the Japanese syntax. Aikido is kind of, you have to call it, it's much closer to yoga than anything else. And it's very clear if you read Takemusu Aiki, what O-Sensei is offering is what people look for when they do yoga. So it's quite interesting because, as I said, the translation of Aikido, which is the way of oneness, of the love and ki, or the core energy which sustain the whole universe, that's yoga. Right? There's nothing in that title that has anything to do with martial arts. I've said that before, like, I don't actually know the names of and what they mean in different Chinese forms, you know, like wushu or what, you know. But if we compare it to Judo or Karate, the Ju, which goes to Do, the Ju means supple. In English, the best translation is supple. And so it's the way of suppleness, as opposed to hardness. And Karate is the way of the open hand. So in those cases, open hand and suppleness, those are clear things which relate to winning in a martial arts situation. If you're supple, you'll win. If you have how to use an open hand to win. But in Aikido, first of all, there's no winning. And there's no competition. And the techniques are, the purpose of the techniques is to connect you with God or with divine energy or with the universe, however, all three. You know, some people don't like the word God, so, you know, you can just say the universe. Buddha. O-Sensei talks about Aikido within the Japanese context, where you just have two basic religions, which are Buddhism and Shinto. So Shinto is called, you know, the way of gods, because Shin means God, Shinto, and Buddha is, you know, Buddha. So he said Aikido is to protect the way, you know, the way of Buddha and the way of gods. Right? So you have this connection with it, which is just absolute, you know, and it's you know, important to know that. In terms of even in terms of self-defense, Sensei said the real way Aikido works in terms of self-defense is you're not there, you know, for that thing to happen that you would have to defend against. You know, you just sense, either you sense it really directly or subconsciously, you know, you just walking along and somehow you walk this way instead of that way, and this way you're okay, and then that way would have been like this. But there is a whole aspect. I mean, Aikido grew up out of the practices and the experiences of Japanese martial arts, which always had a very high spiritual aspect to them. although, as O-Sensei found out, that force was not really understood. And he said when he studied all kinds of different martial arts, he said, well, mainly speed and strength and things like that, that really define how, you reach a higher level. But, it has to do with courage, it has to do with overcoming fear, it has to do with being afraid, it has to do with investing yourself completely. Various aspects of the way one is with oneself that, come out of the tradition of martial arts because they were, life and death. So, I don't know, it might be, if you talk about Aikido to people, it might be easier to talk about it, be truer to talk about it as something, a kind of yoga that grew up out of martial arts, rather than to say it's a martial art. Because O-Sensei, when he talked about Aikido, he called it not. So you have three words. You have the word Bujutsu, which means techniques of Bu, right? Which is Jujutsu, Bujutsu, right? And those are, in the simple meaning, Jujutsu, Bujutsu. Bujutsu means techniques of Bu. That means techniques that will succeed, in a conflict. Bu, within a situation of conflict. And then you have Budo, and of course the word Do, if you move it from Bujutsu to Budo, it has a bigger meaning. It has to do with like the spiritual opening or awakening of the person through their practice. And then you have what I was going to say called Aikido True Budo. It's up another level. And in Japanese, like if you say, in English you say Budo or True Budo, it has a certain something, but in Japanese, the way you say it, it really separates it. Shin-no-Budo. It sets out the word true, and sets it out the word, and the basic way that O-Sensei defines Shin-no-Budo is unity with God, unity with the divine, unity with your heart with the heart of God, unity with your center with the center of God. Being able to see things through the eyes of God. That's Shin-no-Budo. That's really what Aikido is about. And of course, we've always known that, but what you see when you read Takemusu Aiki is this is the very heart. This is all Sensei talks about. But if you think about it, why is it similar to yoga? Is because, like in a martial art, say Judo or karate or other martial arts, you're learning technique which allow you to win or not be defeated or to defend or protect yourself in some kind of combat or conflict. But in Aikido, the techniques are meant to connect you with truth, with the divine. And so, through the techniques, we polish ourselves, or we polish let's say, the divine within us, so it shines. This is what Aikido is meant to do. And it's also clear if you look at Takemusu Aiki and you read lectures of O-Sensei and Aiki Shinsui, that he himself was discovering what Aikido is as he did it.